And now for something completely different.
Forget everything you've been told by others before. Get ready for the real deal, the full story, real talk about money, markets, life. Now, it's The Real Investment Show, presented by RIA Advisors.
And good morning. Welcome to Financial Fitness. I'm Rich Rosso here with Jonathan McCarty.
Good morning,
Rich. Seems to be here every week.
You can't get rid of me.
I think this is his break out of the house.
Yeah, gets me away from that honey-do list. Although
Yeah.
I got to flex my Mancards muscles yesterday. So our oven went out, unfortunately, and it was actually very scary. The heating element sensor broke, so it just got super hot and would not shut off.
Oh, that's scary.
And you see this glow coming from our kitchen while we're sitting in the living room, and I think there's a fire. I go running in there. It's the heating element, and so ran down, kicked the breaker. Turns out oven is toast. Oven is toast. My wife went, and fortunately this happened right before President's Day. So we got a chance to go down and get a good deal on a new oven. Well, my wife, bless her, being the frugal woman that she is, we had a really great deal on the oven, and then they said, okay, it'll be $400 for installation. And that's exactly what she said. What? No, my husband will do that. So I got voluntold that I am uninstalling and installing a new oven. Wow. Yeah, it gets delivered today. So yesterday after work, I had to uninstall the existing oven like a pro, like I'd been doing it my whole life.
Reminds me of those prank calls we used to make as a kid. Is your refrigerator running?
You better catch it.
Is your oven?
Yeah. Do you keep Prince Albert in a can?
Yeah.
I never used that one because by the time I was a kid, Prince Albert was like a long gone thing.
Yeah.
But if I called an older couple, I could use that. I had to be very selective in my calls.
You know, in my generation, Prince Albert has a different meaning, Rich. So,
yeah, we can see what's going on with Prince Albert.
Ask about Prince Andrew, yeah.
And Andrew, yeah. My goodness. Whew. Terrible stuff.
Well, we knocked the show off track pretty
sure
quick.
did.
Hey, tangents.
We went right off the track. Yeah. I like when you saw that glow from the kitchen. You thought right away it was a...
Honestly, you could smell hot metal.
Yeah, because that
permeates
thing
through your house.
You wonder, how hot can it get?
I didn't want to find out.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a good thing you flipped the breaker. You would have burned the house down.
Yeah, it looked like molten iron in there.
Damn.
I mean, you could just see it glowing through the oven door. Yeah, and it was hot. I mean, and then you turn it off, and it just smells like hot, burnt metal for like the next day and a half.
Damn.
So, yeah, very scary.
What's scarier is the thought of me trying to install an oven. Everybody would be dead in the house in about a week.
Well, I'm sure you probably get a head start on it just taking out the old one. Oh, this goes there, and that goes here.
It's pretty straightforward, you know?
Yeah.
I'm a mechanically inclined individual.
No, you're
anyway,
good.
so.
You have that kind of... Yeah, you absolutely do have that. So
Thank you.
Yeah, zombie apocalypse, I'm bringing you along. Yep, I'm bringing you along. It's like the movie Greenland. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
I have not.
But he's an engineer, so he gets all the other people allowed to die in the asteroids and all that stuff. But
except this guy.
No, they need him.
He knows stuff.
He knows how to do
along.
stuff. He knows nuts, bolts.
Yeah.
But what about Instagram? No, we don't need Instagram when the world's coming to an end.
Nope.
It's all, no, don't need that. Speaking of worlds coming to an end, there's a new world beginning with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. But one thing I'm finding in the trenches as you are, but I had talked to a lot of people about it. So some of the information that's coming in, taxpayers on average collected $2,200, almost $2,300 in refunds through February 6th, according to the IRS data. And we are seeing a boost in tax refunds.
Yeah.
So I got a call. I know a lot of, I don't know why, I know a lot of older people that like to call and talk to me. They're not clients per se, but they're in their 80s and so forth. But sometimes I help them out with their finances. And these are your typical elderly widows who live off, for the most part, Social Security and maybe a small pension from their husband, or they have a small account. Listen, nothing big at all, right? But their house is paid off. Their husband made sure everything's taken, no debt. So they're not uncomfortable, but they're not like a lot of people we work with.
Yep.
But I like talking to people who are what I consider more mainstream too.
Yeah.
And they're really excited. I got a call from about three, and then we were talking about tax refunds, and I was trying to help them. We're going to talk about the Senior Tax Deduction, the $6,000 deduction. We want to talk about that today. But they are pleasantly surprised by refunds that they never received, but now they're getting. They had part of it obviously is last year and way the withholding went and so forth. But we're seeing tax refunds. One woman said she usually gets $500 and she got $1,500 and she was almost in tears because she got that. So speaking to a client yesterday, she goes, yeah, most people phase out of this stuff. Let's put it this way. It wasn't designed, this additional $6,000 deduction wasn't designed for people who have decent saving.
Who don't maybe need the help.
Exactly. Right. I think it was geared toward people who absolutely need it because the three women I spoke with were absolutely giddy over $1,500 over $500. Like it was almost like a life changer for them. Mm-hmm. There's something about that perspective when you see some of these tax cuts in action for the people they're designed to get to.
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Like it makes you feel just a little bit better about paying taxes. I mean, I still don't feel good about it, but especially when I know where it goes. But it was, one woman was almost in tears. She had $3,000 back. She goes, I'm going to take my grandson out for lunch and all. We all have goals and we think about how much money we want to make and how much we're going to have in retirement. And then there are these people who are just simple, under the radar, that just care about their grandkids. They live in small homes, neat. It's just, it's just something about that. So to see what's happening with these average tax refunds. So average tax refunds increased more than $200 in the first 2 weeks of filing season compared to the same time next year. One of the things we want to talk about is, and we are trying to prepare. I am always paranoid, and sometimes it's good. I was paranoid years ago about advisors needing to know Social Security and Medicare and all that. But I think 2029 is going to be pivotal for taxes.
Yeah.
With debt to GDP of 120%, where we are from demographics, where we are from our programs, there's just no way in heck taxes aren't going higher.
There's no way.
And we need tax strategists and be very proactive on taxes, my thought is, and that's something we're working on here at the firm. But because one thing we do know, and I bring this up to clients who are happy about some of the changes, is none of this is permanent.
No. And the pendulum could definitely swing the other way. Yeah.
Right. Lots of sunsetting at the end of 2028.
Yeah.
And that is something to keep in mind. Don't get too comfortable. Or, as Ed Slott says, look at these marginal tax rates you have right now as a gift.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ed said that, at our event last month, that the tax rates right now are on sale.
They are.
And that's exactly.
You may not think so.
Yes.
But they are.
Yeah.
And we know that when we work with many clients, there's not a lot of deductions people can take once they make over a certain amount of money.
Yes, correct. You phase out.
They want to try desperately to save money on taxes, and there is just no way. Do you want to venture into the world of, oil pumps and all this other stuff? Do you want to get really speculative, get all these credits up front? I don't want to invest money to lose money.
Right. Timberland.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
highly depreciable.
I'm sure some of these make money, but what I'm saying is you're taking such a great risk. For the most part, you're fairly limited. And with people doing Roth conversions versus doing a lot of pre-tax, right? Because they also know in retirement, they're also going to get taxed quite a bit.
Correct.
There's no place for you to hide. These marginal rates are your places to hide. And those places are going away. I absolutely feel that that's going to happen.
I 100% agree. And we talk about this a lot with clients, that.
Thanks for being paranoid with me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm in the bunker right there with you, Rich.
Thanks. Yes.
But no, if you just look at the demographic
and you're really
shift,
good mechanically in the bunker. And that makes a lot. That's great.
I'm the guy you need when the world ends.
Because I'll be on Instagram going, look, the end of the world. But look at Jonathan fixing the door of the bunker. Because I would have no idea what to do.
Absolutely.
But we talk about this with clients a lot.
Yes, we do.
And taxes. And they always say, what can we do? And we're like, it's really tough when you say, there's not much.
Yeah, when you said it earlier, Rich, the deficit is massive and growing. And in tandem with that, so is the debt service on that debt. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, it's going to become even more untenable than it already is, there's two options. There's austerity and there's increasing tax rates. I don't know a single politician in their right mind that would run on a platform of we're going to cut benefits to people.
So what I think the administration needs to do is try to make as many of these deductions as permanent as possible. And what we know is the senior deduction, the $6,000 senior deduction. So let's talk a little bit about most people are going to take the standard deduction.
Yep.
65 and older, there's a higher deduction or an additional deduction. But then there's this $6,000 cake topper that you can get. I think the AGI limit phase out is what, 150,000?
I think it's right around there. Yep.
Yeah. So like I mentioned, like the three widows that I had spoken with, they're nowhere near that. Like 150 is not even in their wheel. They don't even know what that is.
That's generational wealth.
Yeah, that's like for them, that's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? Right. And knowing them, they'd give it all away. Yeah. But what I'm saying is there's a bill out there, the Permanent Tax Relief for Seniors Act, and I don't understand why this can't be bipartisan, but nothing is. Permanent, the $6,000 deduction for seniors, which expires in 2028. And that's Marionette Miller Meeks out of Iowa who did that. I think the bill that eliminates the sunset clause and locks in the tax relief for older Americans makes sense to me. What do you think?
I would agree, and you're right. A lot of those individuals aren't going to be able to itemize their deductions because when you're already at or near retirement.
Unless they have medical expenses, and we don't want that.
Right, and hopefully you've paid off your home, so there goes your mortgage interest deduction, which is the biggest deduction for most individuals.
That's right.
So without that, you're kind of only left with the standard deduction.
Mm-hmm. So for seniors who I see absolutely benefiting from this, and I think this is the market you want to try to help.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and a lot of those seniors, they are on a fixed income. So to your point earlier about the woman you were referencing, an extra $3,000 to someone on a fixed income is a huge windfall.
It is. And, I lose perspective of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's an extra $3,000? In my mind.
Yeah.
But then I know in their shoes what that means.
Right. Well, considering that half of retirees are living only on Social Security, I mean, that's a staggering number.
That's right. So Miller Meeks says it best, I think. It gives financial breathing room, especially for the 38% of seniors who are still working or looking for work because they couldn't afford retirement. So I think it's positive. I hope this is a bipartisan effort for the most part. Mm-hmm. I think it would make sense for this to be permanent. But I think for the most part, you have to start looking at some of these deductions and trying to make them permanent.
I would agree.
This one seems like a good first toe in the water because why wouldn't both parties be for this?
Yeah, I also agree with, they're floating the idea of eliminating property tax for seniors or individuals that are retired. I would say they should put the qualifier in if you're retired because there are a lot of seniors that continue to work and they're in very high-paying positions. For those, I don't think
that's going to phase out too. And again, it probably should. I mean, people don't want to hear that, but listen, if you're bringing in $150,000 to $200,000 in retirement income,
you don't need the tax break.
You don't need it.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be nice. I'm not saying you don't deserve it, but we got to look at you just said about 50% of seniors who depend on Social Security as their primary source of income.
Right. And I have a lot of very, fiscally conservative friends, right? And I fall into that category as well. Uh-huh. But I absolutely am in favor of paying more taxes so that, the little old lady down the street has food on her table and doesn't have to worry about
payroll tax from Social Security is something I never lament about. I don't care about that.
Never.
Because at least I know where the money's going.
That's right.
I'm okay with that. I'm even okay with it for Medicare if you just would take the fraud out of it, which gosh knows how frightening that is.
Terrible.
And how frightening how both parties are not on the same page with it is even more frightening to me.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I think that as you move forward. So I think now, overall, people are going to see greater refunds. I know people who make much more. They're getting larger tax refunds. And part of that is just the fact that we never adjusted withholding last year. Right. So you're seeing more money coming in.
Just overpayment.
Yeah. And we know where most of that money is going to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see when Kevin Warsh comes in when Powell is out, he's probably going to cut rates right up front just to appease the president, right?
Yep.
But going forward, I mean, again, I think AI is disinflationary. There have been studies that show that. Yet, you have economists that are coming out and saying it's inflationary. I don't see how, if productivity is going up and average unit labor costs are going down, how that's inflationary. But don't ask me. Not an economist by trade. Might have to ask Lance that question. But it's in some form, it's going to cause difficulty. And we're steering a little away from taxes here, but on the fact that how do you lower rates when you're going to probably see more people spending money from their tax refunds. So I think it's going to be interesting to see the Warsh and Trump show when Trump goes, I don't know about this guy. I picked him, but he's not lowering rates down to zero. I think,
I did laugh about that comment for Powell. I don't know who nominated this guy.
Duh. Now, Yellen, we got a problem. Okay? My puppet got a new Yellen shirt. And you know what the puppet said? I don't want this crap.
Nobody wants Yellen.
I don't want this on my chest. What are you, out of your mind? I'm wood, but this makes me petrified. So we have to know that there's going to be this tax storm. Your financial advisors or a tax oven with the heating element broken, right? It's going to be, what's glowing? That's my tax return.
Overheated.
So we're going to have to look at making some of these permanent. And this is why the next topic, these mega Roth eligible clients who may not realize that it's available are missing out.
Yeah, and it's a huge opportunity for individuals who, if you're later on in your career and you've got kids out of the house and you have some disposable income, this is a great way to sack away some additional funds and pad your retirement right before you're ready to walk out the door.
What is it? What exactly is a backdoor Roth, Mr. McCarty?
So the Mega Roth is kind of a twist on the backdoor Roth.
Super Roth.
Yep. So backdoor Roth, a lot of our clients are familiar with. If you have too much income and you phase out of the ability to make a deductible contribution, you can make non-deductible contributions and then immediately convert them. That's the backdoor
to an
Roth.
IRA. But again, even then, you got to be careful.
You do. There are restrictions and
So I
limitations.
have clients, because there's something called a pro rata rule, right? So if you have a lot of IRA rollovers, it's not going to work. But I have clients that purposely, they don't have any IRAs. So we go ahead, right? They have 401ks, retirement plans. They open that account. Now, it used to be this nuance, like, how quickly can I move this to Roth? Does the IRS, because the IRS is knowing what I'm doing, right? Because they know I'm purposely making this non-deductible contribution. But there was like this grace period you sort of had to wait. Like we were all fooling each other. But we took that away.
Yeah.
So right away, you then convert it.
Yeah. There's no earnings, so no taxes, obviously.
Exactly.
Same premise behind the Mega Roth within your 401k.
But this is a little baby Roth IRA contribution. But now we're talking about this mega Roth, which is what we're talking about now. And this happens through your employer, right?
Correct. Yeah. And so you're subject to limitations on to how much you can contribute into that plan every year. It's about $72,000 for most individuals. There's some catch-ups that are applying depending on your age. And so but one caveat, though, is you need to make sure that you're also factoring in any employer matches. And I think that's one part that some people may overlook. The total amount that you can contribute does include that employer match. So if you're thinking about doing these after-tax contributions, you have your standard 24/5 that you can contribute as an employee. Whatever your employer matches is added to that. You can then go ahead, Rich.
So just keep in mind, we have to think about, why would I do this? Even if my company has this, and this is where your plan allows after-tax contributions. So what do I have to get to? Say I have a plan. I have this, and then I'll and what I've noticed, a lot of the bigger companies have this.
Yes.
Right, and then I get the call, like you probably do, from people who are moving jobs. What is this thing? Should I do it? But what do I need to do? In other words, now I have my normal retirement plan, pre-tax, and hopefully you're not doing
Roth.
that. Right, or Roth.
Or Roth.
But is there a step that I need to take? In other words, maxing out one element and then moving
Correct.
to after tax?
Correct. And so just like
yeah.
with the backdoor Roth IRA, once you've maxed out your initial contribution, that 24.5 for individuals under 50, then you have the ability of going up to about 72,000, including your employer match. That can be put in as a non-taxable, an after-tax contribution. Very similar to what you do in a traditional IRA. It's going to go in non-deductible, right? So then you can hopefully immediately convert those funds and not be subject to any taxation because they were already after tax when you put them into the account. But to your point, Rich, it does have to be allowed within your plan, but also not just large employers, but small business owners. I have a number of clients who employ this strategy because they own their own business.
That makes sense too.
And they
Absolutely.
can write this into their
and
plan.
they can do that into that plan.
Right.
So you have to ask your retirement plan provider, right? Do we have this? Am I allowed to contribute after-tax funds into a plan? Is Roth source available? Now, for the most part, every company has to have Roth.
Now they do, yeah.
Yeah, because we're going through the Rothification of America through the Secure Act.
That's right.
If I make an so a company might say, yes, we allow after-tax contributions, but you're not going further with the question. May I convert that
That's the critical question.
into a Roth source within the plan?
And how frequently can I do that?
Right. Do my bonuses count toward it?
Yep.
Right? So if you're a super saver, and you've done all the right things where you're contributing, just say even pre-tax, into your standard plan, but you want to do something extra, right? Because now you have savings spillover. That's a nice problem to have. And some people, what I've noticed, there's an endorphin thing with savings. Like, in other words, you get to a certain point where you're saving money, it almost becomes like a drug. Don't laugh at me. Think about this. It's almost like, how much more can I save? Like, you become this happy hoarder of money because you're like, I'm a great saver. You almost challenge yourself, like, how much more can I do before the kids are eating, mush?
You just gave me a unique insight into my wife's way of thinking because she is one of those super savers. She loves saving money.
I think it becomes, to your point, there are studies that show there are endorphins related to this.
Yeah.
We talk about that financial security endorphin that you get, that that you are reducing financial vulnerability the more you save. So she's probably, like you said, she knows overall it's the right thing to do, but I can even be righter. I could do more,
Yes.
right? She goes along with the premise that most men will not change out or buy underwear until there are lots of holes. Your underwear will be mostly holes because she's saving. That's nice that she's, but to your point, it becomes like almost an addiction.
It does.
In a good way.
Yeah.
So if you are one of these people and your company allows this is absolutely something
Yeah.
you must take advantage of.
And to your point, Rich, especially if you're approaching retirement, you're maybe empty nesters, have some much lower expenses, not having to feed kids who devour everything in sight these days. You have the ability of padding those numbers right before you walk out the door. I mean, that can make a significant difference.
Absolutely. And we understand, we've said it before, I don't know how many times we're going to have to say it. Most people will not fall into the lowest tax bracket in retirement unless you're like those 3 widows that I've talked about.
Yes.
Now, some of you, yes. But when I first started in this business, it was everybody is, because we didn't have taxation on Social Security. Well, we didn't have IRMA. We didn't have some of these things, right? So you have to understand that anything you could do to put after-tax funds away and receive them back tax-free. Now, another thing you want to ask your plan is, well, thanks for allowing this. Do you do it automatically, or do I have to call you? I have clients that they have to initiate it.
Yeah.
They will not do it automatically.
Which presents its own challenge. Having to remember to call in and make those transfers, as you're making those contributions into your plan, that can work against you because obviously the longer you wait, the more earnings hopefully will be accruing on those after-tax contributions.
And technically, people will ask about the 5 years, because we always have this 5-year aging period when it comes to contributions, right? We all know that if we make a Roth IRA contribution, my after-tax contributions can come out at any time. But my earnings, very different, depending if I'm under 59 and a half The 5-year look period. So in other words, if I'm 25 years old and I do this, and in 5 years, say I make $100, 5 years I want to take that money out. Well, I'm going to be taxed in 2 years. I want to take that money out. I'm not going to be taxed on what I put in, but what I earned.
You will be taxed.
And I will be penalized.
That's correct.
So there's this 5-year aging. So people will ask me too, well, if I'm doing these conversions every year, does every conversion have its own 5-year clock?
Within the Roth 401k, no, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Right.
Starts from that first time. That's when your 5-year clock starts to tick. Because I have some people that will not do it and then ask me because, oh, well, I don't want 5-year. I don't want to keep. I'm like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to keep track of anything.
Well, it's also calendar year specific. So if you make
That's
that
right.
first conversion in December of last year, as an example, it's counted as if it was January
That's
of
right.
last year. So that's also a huge benefit.
It is. That sort of accelerates the seasoning of it, right?
right.
But it does happen. So what you have to keep in mind with this one big beautiful bill, even though we're telling you don't worry about it, you make too much money, you're not going to get anything, you need to ask. We have SALT deductions. We have other things in this bill that might benefit you, but for the most part, also people that will bunch or try to want to itemize will bunch charitable contributions, right? Now, there's this de minimis charitable contribution level of $1,000 or so that you could do in cash. Because how many times do you donate to somebody? I mean, donate to an organization, and you just know it's out of the goodness of your heart. You're not getting any kind of deduction.
The collection plate at church.
Yeah, the collection plate at church. Where you say, like, I'll send $100 to someone who's works with dogs, and I
GoFundMe. Yeah, good one, Brent.
GoFundMe, good. Brent's GoFundMe.
Yeah.
He is a 5013C.
Yeah.
Clanton
Please send me the tax
501.
ID. Thank you.
Hey, if the Clinton Foundation can do it, you can. Yeah. Oh, it's one letter off.
Hey, that's true, man.
Don't you
Brent's
know
on fire this
I'm
morning.
on the Clanton Foundation? The Bill Clanton
What's in
Foundation?
that coffee, Brent?
Whatever's in there, it's working, Brent. Wow. One letter off. How are we going to fight the IRS on this? Just tell them. One letter off.
Yeah. It was a typo.
It was a typo.
I don't know.
I'm a Clinton. You're not a Clinton. You're still alive. Bill! Now, we have also, bear with me on this, gone some changes with alternative minimum tax. Now, people may not realize what alternative minimum tax is, but it is. It's an alternate road, right? It's a tax system next to our tax system that you can get taxed 26, 28%. But there are certain things and triggers of AMT. So what we're doing with the one big beautiful bill is we've sort of made some elements of that permanent.
Yeah.
The exemptions and so forth, but we've lowered some of those exemptions to like $500,000 for, I think, single filers. Not many people are subject to AMT, but you will have people, say, for example, that they'll have what we call incentive stock options as part of their compensation. That's pretty common, but people don't understand when they are granted an incentive stock option that they are going to interact with the alternative minimum tax. And you need to understand that depending on when you actually say, yes, I want to exercise these shares, this is the exercise price, there's a difference in there between what you were granted and what you're going to get. And that's called the bargain element. That element, remember, you're not taking possession of that stock, but you could have a liquidity event.
That's right.
So you've got to be careful of alternative minimum tax. Now, what's nice is we tried to make it permanent as far as exemptions, but we've lowered some of the overall amounts. So when you look at the triggers, and again, these are for people that have, they're getting incentive stock options, but I've seen people who have to do this dance where they're very unpleasantly surprised when they do a disqualifying disposition where they go, okay, in some ways it helped them. So in other words, when I get my ISO and I say, okay, I bought this, I got granted the stock for 10, it's now 20. I got $10. I'm going to owe tax on. But from an AMT perspective, if I don't exercise, now some people say, listen, they need the money. I'm taking that extra $10. That's ordinary income. But there are a lot of people who want to have a holding period for that stock.
Yep.
to make it a qualifying disposition to mean I'm going to get it as a capital gain.
That's right. Long term.
Long term.
Yes.
So there's something called this alternative minimum tax calculation that has to be done. Now, for some high net worth people, what they do is if they have incentive stock options, they better have a good tax strategist, because then we need to know, with changes to the one big beautiful bill, what's better for me. There's a crossover point where I can do just enough ISOs not to trigger, and that yet there are some people that the actual AMT rate may be lower than their ordinary tax rate.
Yeah.
Right? Now, again, there's also about AMT credits in the future, depending on what you do. But what I'm trying to say to you is if you're a high net worth individual and you have ISOs, you better be planning and strategizing how, with the changes to one big beautiful bill, the AMT interacts with the ordinary income tax rates, right? So now I got these two systems I've got to worry about. Most people don't have to worry about the alternative minimum tax.
Yeah.
But that's something you need to know overall. So I guess the message here is some of the effects of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act we're going to see just as we talk to clients or people they know, and people like I just mentioned.
Yeah.
They're going to possibly get larger tax refunds. But these marginal rates you have right now, I don't have to really twist anybody's arm to do Roth conversions. As a matter of fact, when I tell people that, I don't think it's going to work for you, they still want to do it. This is so different than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When I was like, Roth conversion, why would I do that? Everything's got to be pre-tax. That's what my CPA says. Be aware that these marginal tax rates that you have right now, 22, 24% marginal tax rates, are allowing you the bandwidth to do these Roth conversions, aren't they?
They are. And, that's, I think that the increased awareness around Roth strategies is helping to drive some of that engagement from clients. But I think clients are also realizing exactly what you talked about at the beginning of the show, Rich, that, if you're a financial planner and you're projecting based off of the current tax regime, you may be understating potential tax liabilities in the future. And so even if you're running these numbers and showing the clients, well, it may be kind of a wash for you based off of, current tax rates, they're also thinking, well, I'm pretty sure tax rates are going to go up.
That's right.
And if that's the case, then I want to take advantage of this now, even if based off the numbers today, it doesn't look like it will provide me much benefit. If I assume that tax rates are going up in the future, you inherently understand that it will be providing you more benefit than what is currently being illustrated.
Yeah, and for those people that still want to do it, because I'm a big fan of Roth, so I'm not going to say no.
Right.
Here's how we do it. We fill the tax bracket.
That's right.
Like, in other words, we do a surgical Roth conversions to understand, especially like you said, if I ask the question, do you think taxes are going up in the future? Almost everybody says yes.
Of course.
Because intuitively we sort of know with what we have going on here, right? So even though they may not be working out for you from a mathematical perspective, I also, to your point, there's a point in the future where taxes may go. It could. So I want to hedge my bet. I want to hedge my Roth bet. Okay. Whatever room we've got left in a bracket, we work with your tax person, we'll take it.
That's right.
Could be $10,000. Could be $5,000. Who knows? Every year is going to be different. Let's do that.
Still
and
gonna help.
people feel better doing that, releasing the pressure on that. Or they feel good about maybe just doing, Roths at work, right? They'll say, okay, I understand, but because to have an additional bucket of money. So let's talk about Roth conversion. We understand, listen, may not be beneficial. The math may not work, but are you considering if rates are going up? But if you want to do it, even though your advisor goes, listen, net long-term, no real benefit. Yeah, but if I think rates are going higher and I want a tax-free bucket of money and I've not done a really good job with my Roth contributions, I'll do this surgical fill the tax bracket up to the brim and then move that.
Yeah.
But the most important thing you can do right now is, especially if you're in your 40s, you can look at Roth contributions. And frankly, depending on how much money you make, we know that your match and or your excess contribution, say if you're 50 and older, that is
Roth.
going into Roth.
Yeah.
Right. I wonder how many people are going to be surprised. Like they didn't really get the memo.
Yeah.
Like they're
Well, I don't know a whole lot of people that are hanging on to every word of updates to tax law.
That's my point. So like, wait a minute. I'm making these catch-up contributions, but my taxes didn't go down.
Yeah.
Because it's in Roth.
That's right.
right? So those are things that you need to understand. And overall, what we're hoping in the future is we'll have people here. We have a good, listen, we understand taxes. I have a tax certification. Try to get the teams to really focus on taxes because, again, I'm ultra paranoid about 2029. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night going, 2029. You got to talk to your tax strategist. It's still early in the year, even though it feels like it's flying by, to set a strategy. What deductions on my, I understand that there's one big beautiful bill. Oh, that's tomorrow? Holy moly. I'm not prepared for that. I already made plans for tomorrow morning. Thank you for reminding me, Brent. See how fast this month is going?
It's flying by. Yeah.
Holy crap. Now what I have to do, I got to make some big changes to my plans tomorrow. Whoops. I'm going to talk about this in a second. So where was I? Because Brent just totally threw me off. Yeah, now I got to work tomorrow morning.
I don't know. I'm concerned about tomorrow as well now.
No, we all forgot. Thank you, Brent, for reminding us about tomorrow. So, okay, we're going to talk about Roth. We're going to go back to that. But tomorrow, what you've been told about annuities is wrong. And the only one who might be in on that is Danny. Because we all forgot. Listen, Ken Fisher and these Wall Street billionaires, they don't care about guaranteed income.
No.
They don't have to worry about that. Okay? But can annuities be used for other things too? Listen, we're not pushing annuities on you, okay? But we help you understand what an annuity is and why you may need it and, frankly, why you may not. I met with... Okay, and this is tomorrow, February 21st. 8 to 9, sign up at realinvestmentadvice.com. We use StreamYard. It's really easy to use to get on there. But we want to take your questions about annuities, and we also want to share some of the myths and some of the ways annuities just get a bad rap. And I blame the people who sell them for this.
One-shot Johnnies.
Is that what they're called?
That's what I call them, yeah. They're not out there establishing, advisor relationships.
They're use that tomorrow.
They're hawking products.
One-shot Johnnies.
One-shot Johnnies.
I think there's actually an insurance company named One-Shot Johnny. I got a really terrible joke, and I'm not going to say it. If it's that bad, and I'm not saying it here, it's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
So hope you tune in tomorrow. I think we're going to have a few advisors that are going to sit on it. Jonathan maybe head first in an oven, but and I wasn't even going to show, obviously, until I got this message from Brent when he would have been calling me tomorrow. Where are you? Why? What's up? Candid Coffee is designed to be a very informal back and forth interaction, okay? If you own annuities, we're fine with you. If you don't own, we're fine with you. We want to help educate you about them. I have one person I met with the other day that absolutely has to have an annuity. It's like, I've never had this before. Or if I have it, it's rare and I don't remember. Where they must have one. And I'm like, okay, but you don't need it. Like, I mean, everything they're doing, they don't need the income. Like, in other words, sometimes annuities are right for you. Sometimes they're not. If you want one, that's great. But what I'm saying to you is the way they're offered and how they're strategically should be placed into a financial plan. I don't understand how you can offer anybody an annuity or any kind of insurance product without a financial plan. I don't even understand it.
I would agree. I think it falls outside of a fiduciary obligation. But, unfortunately...
But I mean, I don't even understand as a salesperson. Like, I'm just going to sell you this major policy with all these bells and whistles, and frankly, you probably don't need them all.
And they probably don't even understand them all, is the thing.
And the clients never really ring those bells either.
Right.
So
right.
I think Brent's got a one-shot Johnny comment or something.
I was just going to interject that the annuity discussion is a starting point tomorrow. And if you have questions about other things, that's what Candid Coffee is all about.
That's what it's all about.
Keep Rich on his toes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Danny. But we
oven installations, recipes,
electrical components. I'm your guy.
Puppet mechanics.
Puppet mechanics. I can't put a puppet together. What a great skill during the zombie apocalypse. What do? I make puppets. Kill this guy. the Roth discussion within the one big beautiful bill, because again, the sunsetting of these marginal rates is important. And I hope I'm wrong about 2029. I really do.
You know, historically, the 29s have not been good years. If you,
Yeah.
you know, I can understand your concern, Rich. Let's see how this plays out. But I'm
There'll be
cautiously
studies
optimistic.
done through the Clanton Foundation as we get closer. But we hope we see you tomorrow, 8 to 9 a.m. Again, bring your questions, bring your hate, bring your love, mostly love. We're all about love.
Were you a child of the
Candid
60s,
coffee.
Rich? Were you?
No. Although in the 70s, well, my mother had a real problem. My mother would dress me like everyday Sunday. So I was a little Fred Mertz. I would have my belt. I got to bring in a photo, but it's like, it's like 1974, and I got the belt's up to under my chest, and I got this shirt. And the hippies that drove around in the van, this is how cool we were in the 70s. Today, you don't even let your kid outside. They'd go, oh, look at that little ventriloquist doll. Let's take him. And they would take me on the bus with them the whole day. Okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to advise any parents out there to let your children jump into a bus
I
full
ran
of guys.
right into that bus. Once I saw the girls in their halter tops,
Hey, kid, want some candy?
I'm like, yes. Yes, I do. It was a good time, man. I don't think anything bad happened to me. They just said, oh, you guys are so cute. And they drove me around, and the girls paid attention to me. And then they dropped me off at like 5 o'clock. My mother didn't even know where I was.
We started the show off on the wrong track,
And we're ending it
back on it.
We're ending it there as well.
Listen,
Yes.
we start on the end. We end on the end. Either way, it's a crash. But we hope you got some good information from this because, again, the most important thing, meet with your tax advisor. Make sure you understand some of these dynamics in the bill and take advantage of them. That's all we got. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being patient with us today. We love you.